Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of The Emerging Artist. I'm Iris, I'm a choreographer performer with a background in architecture, and I am taking you on a journey through the kind of career development of being a freelance artist, an independent artist, and all the joys and challenges that you kind of find along the way. We're a big community. We're people that love and support each other and empower each other, lift each other up, and I'm really excited to welcome you to this community. Share your thoughts, your experiences, your comments on the podcast below, or send me a DM like a true millennial. I read them all, I love them all, and I appreciate them all, and I appreciate you. Thanks for being here. In this episode, I am tackling a kind of pain point and an issue that all artists face, and I have faced and I'm still facing to this day after a freelance career of about 12 years so far, and kind of writing an arts council application at the moment. I'm really feeling it, and I am talking about no other thing from rejection. I'm going to be discussing with you how to handle rejection, how to maybe reframe rejection, and how to sit with these emotions that it brings. I really empathize and I really recognize how it feels, because as I said, I've felt it like multiple times before. At some point I stopped counting how many applications I go back and they were a no. Because for fun, I did count at some point. When I got over like the 200 mark, I was like, yeah, this is not sustainable. I'm just going to stop here. But that's just to give you an idea of how much, like just the pure volume of no's that I've received, and I continue to receive. And I saw an Instagram post by somebody who I follow, Melissa. Hi, if you're watching, if you're listening, and I think they're counting the rejections that they get, and it just made me think that when I was starting out, I used to not post about that, and I used to just post about the good things, because I thought that if I did that, if I only shared the good side of things, that people would think that I'm not a failure and I'm not, I'm successful, and there's progressions and good things are happening to me. And quite frankly, I saw other people doing the same, and I assumed that everything is easy for them and they are really doing well, they really have it, they've got a good thing going on. And it never even crossed my mind that behind those, and that's very much like the Instagram experience, isn't it? Like behind those pictures or reels or whatever, and behind this like, I don't know, 10K followers or something ridiculous, is a bunch of no's and so many hours of practice, so many hours of being told that you're not good enough or not tall enough. Yes, I have been told that I'm not tall enough many times for many jobs. Things like that. And I thought, well, who am I to say I've been rejected multiple times? And actually, my rejections are way more than the things that I do. But at some point, I think I did post something about being like a stress ball on the floor, because it's just exhausting, and it's just hurtful and painful to hear no back when you put all your heart and soul and all your time and effort, unpaid work, into an application, either for funding or as an open call response or an audition, like all these things that we have to do as artists to get ourselves out there, to get some work, to get seen. It's just, you're like, oh, I just wasted like 4 hours or 4 days or 4 months of my life, and nothing came out of it. And not only that, you also feel really kind of, really hit personally because I've said it many times in this podcast. We are so connected to, like, our identity is also our work. And so we're so connected with what we do. And sometimes most of the times, we confuse our work's worth and we see our worth through the perceived value of our work from other people. So when somebody says like, oh, we had some applications that were kind of better prepared or better fit for this project, whatever, I'm like, oh, I'm not good enough for this. Or there are other people who are way better than me, in this. And that might be true, of course, because, lots of people are better than you. Newsbreak, breaking news. But the point is that it's really hurting on a personal level. And this is one of the biggest challenges that you must learn to kind of overcome and reframe if you want to build a sustainable practice and a sustainable career in the arts. Because it's really, I know it's hard to detach yourself from your work, but when somebody comes back to you and they say it's a no this time, they don't mean it's a no to you or it's a no to your work but they mean that it's not a good match at this moment in time, or it's not a good match for this platform or for this project. You need to understand this, you need to recognize it, and you really need to reframe it. I'm just sighing because I already feel the exhaustion, and I do feel you and I do empathize with you. And sometimes you just want to be like, ugh, I just want something to work. I know that. I feel that every day, my friend, believe me. But, there is a burnout that comes with applying for a million things and not getting anything back from them. So you also really need to reframe how much time and effort you're putting into these kind of forms of getting work. For example, I used to do every open call that I saw. I went overboard. And guess what? I didn't get any of them because I didn't have a project that was relevant to like all the open calls that I was applying for. I did get shortlisted for one that was super competitive, and out of like 200 I got to 11, and then I didn't get it. But then I was like, okay, this is a big thing, this is a win already, because I was like, I'm so burnt out, I can't even look at another open call ever again in my life, or I can't go to another audition in my life because I don't want to be number 549 in the queue for the open audition. I just can't. I can't give that time and energy to this anymore. And I stopped doing that, and I said, okay, instead, let me really figure out what are the steps that I can take, that I can control in my practice, within my community, within the industry, that will help me develop my career, but also not really kind of attach myself to institutions or venues or, these kind of opportunities that are like very ad hoc. How can I build a sustainable practice no matter what? And maybe if I do need to apply for some things, like now I'm applying for Arts Council project grant, but it's with a project that I have built. I know it's sustainable because I've unpacked every single element of it. I have partners, I have collaborators, I have, venues that are kind of ready to receive that. So it's not just responding to an open call, but I've built the circumstances around it so that even when the grant doesn't come, the project has somewhere to fall, and it doesn't just fall through the cracks and, we're done with it next one, because that is just exhausting. It's not sustainable. It's just, and kudos to you if you keep applying for open calls and you get stuff. Maybe you figure something out that I haven't been able to, and I really admire that. But for most of us, I think counting rejections and really sitting with that emotion, of course, you have to sit for it for a minute. You can't just close your laptop and just walk away immediately. You're a human being. But I think there was a point in my life that it really affected me, and I would sit with that for a week before I could even function or get on to the next thing. And I can't do that anymore. I don't have the emotional capacity to be with that. So reframing it as an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to redirect yourself or your work, and to really land somewhere that you wouldn't be able to even think of landing before, because you got a rejection, because you got a no. And really thinking about how you spend your time, your energy, and where you put effort in is really, I think, such an important deviation, but it's an important kind of, rerouting of that path. My friend, rejection is hard. I know it. I've been rejected hundreds of times. So I think the important thing is how you get back on track, how you continue to develop and grow as an artist, how you continue to build a sustainable career, and how you build resilience. So it doesn't matter how many times you get rejected. What matters is how you get back, how you show up for yourself and for your work again and again and again, and how you continue to find joy in what you do, and how you tap into your community, you tap into the things that spark joy for you, and how you move forward and onwards from here. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.